Hi everybody, it's Todd Jason here, the co-creator, co-founder of the Amplifield, co-whatever. I'm one of the people that's helping to create this platform. Hope you're having a great day so far, and I've decided to do this video because it's Friday afternoon and I spent much of my week not only working really hard on our platform and this new iteration that's coming out, but also, like many of you probably, having conversations with friends, with family, with coworkers, with people on the street, people in the restaurant, about what's happening in the world and the reality that Donald Trump is the president-elect and the people that he's putting into power are very real people with real agendas that are, to be honest, quite scary to many of us. And also contemplating the really expanding polarity that seems to be happening throughout humanity right now. Um, it's been really tough right now. And while I am so happy to be working on a project like the Amplifield, which has at its root the idea that we can change the systems from the inside out through our collective thoughts, our collective prayers, still really believing in the idea of inside out change as we're talking about here, especially as we extrapolate to thinking about millions and millions of people coming together in this way, which technology now gives us the ability to do. I can't help but be scared, like many of you, and really feeling the fear on people's faces. I remember watching the election that night, and I was by myself because my partner was away, and watching CNN that had that map showing all the counties, and the map just kept turning red and red. They would zoom into counties and states that the Democrats were supposed to win, that Hillary was supposed to be a landslide, and it was just red and red. And even the announcers, Wolf Blitzer, was just in shock by what was happening. And there was a moment for me where I just realized, I closed my eyes and I thought, the country's bleeding. And this is so symbolic of just a red, bleeding country and all those millions and millions of people out there giving a giant big fuck you. And I'm sorry to curse, but it felt like a big that towards the media and towards the pollsters and towards all of us who really thought that we were on a positive trajectory after 8 years of Obama, who was this beautiful man that spoke with such integrity and value. And whether or not he was still really a politician and doing things not so great, at least it felt like he cared. Um, and now we get sideswiped with these, what I call darker energies that are coming into play. And when I talk about darker energies, I mean people and groups that value power, greed, money over qualities like love and compassion and healing and our planet. I consider our planet of value. It's our home. We have to take care of this place. And that's really in question right now. And the only other time that I remember feeling this way, and I've shared this with many of you, was on 9/11 when I was one of those people running away from the buildings and watching with my own two eyes as they fell down, and then dealing with the aftermath of something that was incomprehensible to me. I couldn't imagine that happened. It was like dividing by zero. And what it stirred for me was after going through a year or two of just being terrified and living in fear, real fear, it made me ask myself questions. Who am I? Who are we? And that sent me on the path of self inquiry, where I started taking courses and reading books and on and on and on. Um, and here I am now, sitting here with you, many like minded people who are also deeply on the path. And I can't help but thinking and hoping that what's happening in the world right now is another 9/11, but times 1,000, meaning that this will cause a massive surge of people seeking the questions of who we are and who they are. Really, an increase in spirituality and an amplification of development and growth. And maybe that won't be immediate. Maybe we won't see that tomorrow. But I know that this polarity is strong and so many people just don't know what to do. And perhaps this is the critical mass / tipping point that so many of us have been thinking about. And I know that sounds crazy because there's a chance we don't make it. If you look at what the agendas are in play for Trump and the people he's surrounding himself with, it's not good. And maybe we don't make it, or maybe we literally have to accelerate and amplify our love so much right now to overcome. Maybe that's what the call is, that we put everything else aside and we literally go to war. And when I say war, I mean spiritual war. It reminds me of the end of one of my favorite movies, The Lord of the Rings, the trilogy. And in the third movie, um, the the good guys are sitting in a room and they feel as if they're defeated, and they don't even know if Frodo, the ring bearer, had made it all the way to the mountain, because the only way to destroy the evil is for him to throw that ring into this mountain and to have it destroyed. And that's what the whole movies were about. And they weren't even sure if he was still alive. And they're sitting there thinking, well, what can we do? All of our armies have been destroyed. We got nothing. We can't help him. And they decided to go to the bad lands, the lands of the evil people, the Dark Lords, and to create a distraction. And the only thing they could think to do was to maybe the distraction that we can create, we'll give our lives to create a distraction, so that maybe if he's still alive, Frodo, it'll help him get to the top and throw that ring in there, so that way evil will be destroyed. And they do this. They go to, the bad area, and they instantly get surrounded by all the soldiers of the evil armies, and the distraction works. They draw those people away, and they get surrounded in a big circle, and they all look at each other, and then they look at Aragon, their leader. And there's this beautiful moment in the movies, one of my favorite moments in movie history, where they just look at Aragon, and he just looks at them, and he just like kind of gives like the nod to like, yeah, and they just run out to fight to the end. And they go out with passion to fight, and maybe those seconds of them being alive will be the seconds they need to actually allow Frodo to throw that ring in. And they don't even know if that's true. And of course, it's the movies. It is true. And he does throw the ring in, and then they all die, and then Aragon and all the good guys are safe. So maybe that's possible for us. I don't know. Hopefully. But regardless of the outcome, that's how I feel right now. We need to go out there. Van Jones is an example of a man who is creating what he's calling a love army. I don't know what it means yet, but that's a leader that we look to. And there's going to be others coming up. Platforms like the Amplifield, where we come together to accelerate and amplify love and connectivity, is where we can come. And it's important that we go for it right now. So the question I pose to you is, out there, if you're listening, is what is your play? What is your role? It's not just about the Amplifield, and it's not just about Van Jones or giving money here or calling your local representatives. It's about all of it. But the question is, what do you want to do? What are you called to do to make a difference? And I don't believe that the Amplifield or things like this, and there's a lot of things like this, are the only answer. This is change from the inside out, and it's important because our structures and our systems are made up of consciousness itself. And as human consciousness changes and evolves and up levels, as a critical mass of people come to a different perspective and ability to see that we're all connected in this way, we won't have governments and corporations and systems that are actually destroying liberation and destroying ourselves. We just won't. The question is, are we going to get there? Do we have enough time? Is this current administration literally going to accelerate the darkness to the point where we run out of time and we start seeing some pretty desperate things happening? It's possible. So let's act. Let's go for it. So do what you're called to do. Figure it out. Try stuff. You may not even know right now. Give money to an organization that is doing good work and healing work. Call your local politicians for things that are important to you. Start a group. This is the time that we all come together. And I personally am more motivated than I've ever been to get a project like the Amplifield out there, because my feeling is that this type of platform can be one of those homes and those hubs where we can really come together in love and connectivity and peace. And that by itself can amplify the collective manifestation of our reality. It's really important to do that. And it's really important to make change from the top down, from inside the system itself. So I put this video on a page of mine where we're doing kind of a crowdfunding, support the Amplifield type thing where you can become a founding member. And that will enable you to get access to our platform and do some cool things. But really, it's, hey, help get this off the ground, because this is an important project, and I do invite you to do that. But more than ever, I hope that this video shows you a little bit more about me and my passion behind the project that I'm doing, and my hope for you to find what you're here to do. And any way that I can help, please let me know. There's still so much opportunity out there, and I think the good guys are going to win. I think the good guys are going to win, and it's going to be tough, and it's going to be hard, and we're going to make it somehow that we can't even see, and I trust. So with that, I love you, and I will speak to you soon. Namaste.